Aside from Kanye West, Lupe Fiasco has probably the greatest catalog of unreleased albums in hip-hop history. Lupe is the king of cap, from announcing his retirement multiple times, to teasing his fans with a bunch of projects that will never see the light of day. But as one of the most creative and innovative minds that hip-hop has ever seen, these aren't just all regular albums, but instead incredible concepts and ideas that could have changed the entire rap landscape if they were released. If you're a fan of hip-hop, then I'm sure you've heard of a couple of these. But in doing my research, I found out about some really rare ones that only die-hard Lupe fans would know about. And I'm not exaggerating when I say some of these albums would have blown my mind if they came out. In 2007, Lupe Fiasco, Kanye West, and Pharrell Williams were three of the most popular acts of the up-and-coming generation. With the release of their song Us Placers, the trio forged the group Child Rebel Soldier, and spawned years of rumors of an eventual CRS album. While only 3 official CRS songs were ever released, the group supposedly worked on an album titled God Unwilling, that was unfortunately shelved. Rumors of the album continued until about 2013, when Lupe officially confirmed that Child Rebel Soldier had been cancelled. But CRS isn't the only rumored project that Lupe has with Kanye or Pharrell, but I'll get into those later. After the release of 2 back-to-back classics, Lupe announced that his third project, titled Loop End, would be his final piece of work. In true Lupe ambition, Loop End was planned to be 3 separate discs, one for E, one for N, and one for D. The first of these 3 albums would be titled Everywhere, the second was Nowhere, and the third was called Down Here. Everywhere was about a little boy whose dad gave him a shortwave radio for his birthday, and that radio started picking up signals from the future. Musically, Everywhere was going to be sounds from all over the world, because that's what the little boy was picking up on his radio. Nowhere took place in the future, on the other side of that radio. The world and everybody in it was dying from a disease. In Nowhere there was this big building or hard drive that was going to be used to store the life stories of everybody who was dying. What the little boy was hearing on his radio and Everywhere was all these stories being broadcasted back through time. Down Here would take place in the afterlife of the main character of Nowhere, and it would sound very ethereal and spacey since it took place in the afterlife. This project unfortunately was never set in motion due to some drama between Lupe and his record label. The only song that we ever got from this project was Shining Down, which was supposed to be a single off of Everywhere. In April of 2010, Lupe made this tweet introducing the world to the newest rap supergroup, All City Chess Club. Consisting of some of the most talented artists from the young backpacker generation of the late 2000s, this tweet created an incredible amount of excitement. The official members of the crew can be up for debate, but the extended list of members as I know it is Lupe, Pharrell, J. Cole, Blue, Charles Hamilton, B.O.B., Asher Roth, Wale, Diggy Simmons, and the Cool Kids. Aside from a collaborative song or two, nothing really came of this group either. It still gets mentioned from time to time, but Lupe seemed to quickly move on to other projects. This group does deserve its own video one day because of its incredible potential, so be on the lookout for that coming in the future. In 2013, Lupe and A-Trak had an exchange on Twitter, tossing around the idea of working on a 6-track EP titled A Track Called Lupe, but unfortunately nothing ever came of this release. In 2014, Lupe and producer S1, also known as Symbolic One, announced an album called Black Vietnam. Not much is known about this album other than that it was being worked on around the same time as Tetsuo and Youth. Lupe was working with Kanye during the Yeezus era on a song called Black Vietnam. The song went unreleased but was supposedly still being worked on by the duo in 2020, when Kanye was putting together the track list for his Jesus is King follow-up, God's Country. I'm not sure how exactly this song fits into the project with S1, but it seems like Lupe's concept for Black Vietnam was going to be politically charged and stayed in Kanye's mind for many years. In 2016, Lupe was planning yet another trilogy of albums, leading up to his retirement. This time the albums would be Drogoz, Skulls, and then concluding with Roy. The inspiration for Roy was the character of Roy Batty, who was the main antagonist of the movie Blade Runner. This album would have most likely been futuristic with themes of consciousness and identity, just like the movie. As I said, this album was originally supposed to be his final album, but was scrapped and replaced with Drogoz Wave and Drogoz Light. As the king of insanely creative concept albums, Lupe has been teasing us with another one lately that we'll probably never hear. Samurai is an album from the point of view of Amy Winehouse, resurrected with magical powers to become a battle rapper. That's right, you heard that correctly. This crazy concept somehow might be the next Lupe project that we get. The idea spawned from a scene in the documentary Amy, where she calls Salam Remy to let him know that she wants to be a battle rapper, comparing herself to a samurai on the battlefield. In a 2019 interview with Hypebeast Radio, Lupe said that this album would never come out. But since then, he has previewed some of the project on his Instagram, so there still may be hope. There are a couple sequels to Lupe albums that were teased to the fans as well. When Lupe released Food and Liquor 2, he subtitled it The Great American Rap Album Part 1. This implies that there was a Great American Rap Album Part 2 planned at some point that we never got. And in 2016, Lupe announced that The Cool 2 would be released sometime in 2017. But as that year came and went, we never got to hear what that highly anticipated sequel would sound like. Over the years, Lupe has announced both an album entirely produced by Pharrell, as well as a collaborative album with Royce da 5'9", produced by the legendary Dr. Dre. Lou is known for blowing smoke before anything actually comes to fruition, so who knows if anything was actually recorded for these projects, or if it was just talked about by the artists. Lupe had a rock band called Japanese Cartoon. The group released an album in 2010 called In the Jaws of the Lords of Death. The group was supposed to release a remix album in 2011 called In the Belly of the Beast, but that was never released. In 2015, Lupe announced an upcoming project for the band called m.i.l.k is for Pussies, but unfortunately nothing ever came of this one either. On August 9th, 2021, Lupe announced that he would be attempting to record an entire 10-song album in just 24 hours. This daunting task proved to get the better of even a skilled MC like Lupe. After his 24 hours were up, he admitted defeat but left the door open for a possible round 2. It's still unsure or not if Lupe plans to finish this 24-hour album, but it's highly unlikely that we'll ever hear the music. And lastly, we have the album that Lupe has been teasing us with for years, Skulls. Originally announced as a part of the Drogoz trilogy that he would end his career with, Lupe has said that this will be his best project. Not much is known about the project as far as the concept of the record, but at one point Lupe mentioned that the project would be about or inspired by Basquiat. So many Lupe projects have been announced and scrapped since Skulls was originally announced, so if it does ever see the light of day, you know it's going to be something special. Even though Lupe announced this project way back in 2015, he stated in 2018 that he's only recorded a couple songs up until that point, and stated that it might never come out at all. On the song Kneeling on Needles, he even states that he might drop Skulls as an art show. So even Lupe doesn't really know what the final product of this album will be, if anything at all. But the fact that this album over all the others persists to be teased and rumored gives me hope that Lupe's magnum opus Skulls might be released someday. So that just about does it. I really can't believe how many projects he's announced that were never put out to the public, but as I said before, Lupe really is the king of cap. Let me know down in the comments which scrapped Lupe project you would be most excited to hear. I have many more videos coming at you guys soon, so if you enjoyed this video, if you could subscribe to the channel, that would be very appreciated. Thanks for watching.